If you're a regular listener, you know we love our Three Spirit drinks.
They are the non-alcoholic spirit drinks that are taking the world by storm.
Three Spirit is a range of 3 distinct drinks, each with its own unique flavor and effect.
The Livener is a refreshing and invigorating drink that is perfect for starting your day or night.
The Social Elixir is a smooth and sophisticated drink that's perfect for sharing with friends.
And the Nightcap is a calming and relaxing drink that's perfect for winding down before bed.
All 3 drinks are made with plant-based ingredients and are free from alcohol, gluten, and sugar. They are also vegan and ethically sourced.
So, whether you're looking for a delicious and refreshing drink to enjoy on its own, or a sophisticated non-alcoholic alternative to cocktails, Three Spirit is the perfect choice for you.
Try Three Spirit today and discover the difference. Visit us.threespiritdrinks.com and use the promo code The Activity Continues for 15% off your entire order.
Cheers!
That one was our best one yet.
Ghosty fam, welcome to The Activity Continues, a podcast where 3 soul friends talk about all things paranormal, ghosts, hauntings, physics.
That's not right.
That's not right at all.
But we do sometimes talk about physics, geometry, geography, genealogy.
I might be in the wrong podcast because I don't remember us talking ever about physics.
Aerodynamics of sharks.
Yeah.
Okay, that's true. Yes.
There you go. I mean, everything's physics, really.
We're back on. I'm back on board. I hopped off the boat a little bit, but just put one foot. I just put one foot on the side, like 1 foot on the shore.
Got it. Okay. So, all things paranormal, such as not physics, but ghosts, hauntings, psychics, movies and TV shows, especially The Dead Files, and other creepy and spooky adjacent things as well. We also like to interview people in the paranormal community as well as past Dead Files clients and other interesting people. Sometimes we even tell your stories. Megan?
Hi, everybody. Today we are talking to Toni Shapiro. If you heard our season premiere episode, you heard AP reading her paranormal story about when she was little and was visited by a very scary entity. This was the worst episode for me because it was fun reading the story about the story, but that was the night that our overhead lights were not working, and so when we were finished recording, I had to go upstairs in the dark, you guys.
You have a light on your phone.
It wasn't enough light.
It's never enough.
I needed floodlights. I needed oh my God. It was so scary. I was scarred by that.
It was a scary story.
It was, and that was just hearing about it.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine experiencing it
as a 5-year-old,
as a child, as a baby.
Brave.
Oh my God.
Girl.
So if you haven't heard that episode, go back and listen to it because it was real good, you guys.
Yeah,
real good.
That was good.
But she is on the show today, and so we are going to be talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So AP. I was waiting for Megan to toss it to me, but
shit. There's nothing in the script. And
We
wait,
fumbled that
then
one.
throw it
I
to
just said
AP.
throw to
Jesus
AP.
Christ.
But that's okay. That's okay. I can cut or leave it, whatever.
No, leave
Total
it.
awkward silence.
Ah,
Nailing it.
but hey, everyone, I'm AP. Also,
Are you?
Amy. Yeah, last I checked, which was recently. And I actually read the story that Toni provided, and
great job.
it was a cold read of that story. And
Mm-hmm.
I just remember having like goosebumps all up and down my arms,
It was
or just being
awful.
like, I know we had to throw in a couple of like, oh, let's make this kind of funny moments, because there was a lot of stuff that was like,
Because
really.
Megan was scarred.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When she said where her shoes were supposed to be, the scissors were.
Yeah.
I just got goosebumps all over again. My stomach plummeted to my shoes.
Yeah.
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 It was the worst.
Can't wait to talk about it with it
I know.
shortly.
She's in the waiting room.
And I will say, content warning, we recommend reading the show notes because we're not sure what might come up during this episode.
It's a free-for-all.
I can guarantee you language will come up.
Probably.
So, yes, that is just our warning. If you don't care about content warnings, then dive right in. We know Toni has a few stories ready to tell us and include a malevolent physical attack.
Great.
Shadow figures.
Super.
Visitations by creepy entities.
Check.
And everyone's favorite, sleep paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have that all the time. Check, 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 check.
Never
when are we going to start recording in the sunshine?
When we don't have jobs, day jobs.
Never.
Yeah, probably be a while. All right, should we let her in?
Yeah, let's jump into it.
Here we go.
I need my sage.
I've got my Palo Santo incense burning over here. Hopefully, gremlins, all the bad energy has to go away.
Hi, Toni.
Hi,
Toni.
Hello, my dears.
I need an old priest and a young priest and holy water.
Yeah, we've been discussing your story. We just recorded our
reminiscing
intro.
About it.
We were talking about the story when we read it last week.
I only cried for 5 minutes.
Oh no, honey. I hope not.
No, I didn't. It was the worst possible timing for me though, because we live in an old house. Our house was built in 1954, and so sometimes the light switches don't work. And so the overhead light switch to our basement wasn't working that night. And so when I left recording, I had to shut all the lights off, and it was super duper dark. And I was
That's
not
why
okay.
you were in there. That's why you had the blankie and stuff, huh?
Yeah, and we also have to sometimes we have to lock the upstairs door from the kitchen because my son tries to get downstairs, and so I had to stand at the top of the stairs in the fucking dark waiting for my husband to come and unlock the door. If I would have seen a pair of scissors, I would have shit my pants.
Megan actually said something in a text, a group text. She said something to me about scissors. I don't remember. She was talking about something else, something about scissors. And I just wrote back, snip, snip, snip. And she's like, Amy, fuck you.
Yeah. And fuck and you were both individual sentences. It was fuck, period, you, period.
And I laughed.
I said too soon.
Oh, I'm sorry it scared you that bad.
No, it was a great story. It was really good.
But it happened to you.
I know.
So
when it was that the first time you had seen that particular entity?
Yeah, that was the first time I actually had a paranormal encounter.
Wow.
I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I mean, it changed me. Afterwards, I mean, after going through all that, as you read the story, I became a sleepwalker, and I had never displayed that kind of behavior either until then. And you know, as all this time is going on, I'm just now learning about stuff, which is really bizarre because, you know, growing up the whole time, I mean, I'm 64 years old, so I was born in 1959.
You don't look a day over 30.
Oh yeah, God, you're sweet. You're very, very sweet. But if you see me without makeup, you'd say, "Oh Lord, is this?
Oh, stop.
Oh Lord, is this?"
No,
I see myself without makeup.
You watch. But anyway, yeah, it changes you, and to be changed like that at 4 years old is pretty freaking ridiculous.
I mean, that's one of the like the very. You're still like developing your brain.
Yeah.
Like there are like. That's insane. Of course it would change you.
Yeah, I totally believe that was life.
Yeah.
I just, and as much as a tiny little kid can, assume, because your mind, as you said, is not developed and is barely developing. And, I mean, all I wanted to do was play with dolls, for goodness sake. And then this creep comes and visits me. And so it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I talked to some other people, like I said, I've just now started to learn more about this, because growing up there was absolutely no kind of outlet. There was no information. That would have been a taboo a discussion. You
probably would have been locked up.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I'm sure my grandmother and my mother would come to my defense, saying they've had it too, because they had.
Wow.
Yeah, and my sister too. So it's kind of it's not that particular thing. And I don't know if any one of them had any kind of paranormal activity or experience in that house. But yeah, everybody in my family, they've all passed. I'm the last one, but yeah, so it's like one of those inheritances that you don't want.
Yeah.
Well, you can't say they never gave you anything.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
You couldn't have left me like $1 million or something.
I know. But I've learned so many things like that they call it, say you're a seer, or you have what is it? Not precognition, psychic abilities. Yeah. Well, I do get that too. But I thought everybody experienced this. I mean, I had a last one just about, I'm trying, if I look around, it's because I'm trying to think, just about a month ago.
Okay.
And this was like out of the side of my face, my peripheral vision. I seen somebody walk, but far enough out here that I could tell there was a figure there, and I thought it was my husband. I turn around. That's not that. I've had that before, but anyway, I turned around and there was nobody there. About an hour later, 2 hours later, something like that, we found out that our friend had passed away on the operating table. And that's where he used to sit, right at that chair.
Oh my God.
So
okay, I just got goosebumps again. He was visiting you.
Yeah, he was visiting, and I thought that was so sweite. So they're not all paranormal things are bad.
No, they're not. They're just
in my case, I might have had, maybe that's just that one. The rest of them are very scary. The rest of them are really bad. But anyway, I just thought I would share that because I thought it was very sweet.
Yeah, Toni, do you ever get any other like signs of things? Like, I know these two know I lost my dog earlier this year, and I went for a walk the day after, and I went on a trail that I've never gone on in the 20 years that I've lived in this area, and found a single hawk feather.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Like, to me, that meant that he was good on the other side, and he was giving me that sign.
Yeah. I have, when my grandmother passed away, her favorite fragrance, which I can't stand, is those rose tool scent, like, I don't know what brand it is, whatever. I couldn't stand that stuff. It would give me a headache. Of course, I would never tell grandma that because I adore it. But when she passed away, I went home and I was just hysterical and laid in the bed, and I'm telling you, that scent came wafting in like so strong that it was just, and it was only surrounding me. And my ex-husband, he goes, "Oh my gosh, what's that you're wearing?" I'm not wearing anything. I said, "What does it smell like?" And he goes, "Smells like roses." And and there
You're
were
like,
no
I wouldn't
roses
be
around.
wearing that.
I'm sorry?
I said you were like, I wouldn't be wearing that.
No. No.
What is it with like grandmas and like florals and,
my grandpa
rose
was pine
and...
tree.
It's that era. It's just that era.
Yeah. It's all about like roses and lavender and, lilies and all those floral scents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just that era.
Yeah.
They didn't, I don't think there was a whole lot of choices for women back in those days. I mean, Chanel had been around for so long, but my grandmother could have never afforded
nobody
Chanel,
in my family could ever afford that.
I feel like my grandma had something like that. My grandma who passed away 22 years in January. And I remember smelling something like that. But my grandpa who passed, her husband, recently, within a couple years, I remember being somewhere and I was like, oh, what is that pine candle you have? And they're like, I don't smell anything and I don't have any pine candles going.
Yeah.
And she was like, that's your grandpa. It was Jenny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Isn't that sweet? So see, you it's like almost like they just passed through for a moment. Because I don't like to think that my grandmother is going to hang out here.
No.
Right.
I want her to be quite honestly, in heaven. In a good place.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that, quite honestly, I really believe that they just kind of pass through to let you know that they're doing good, and they did just pass on because in that world there is no time or space,
right?
So they can go. It's not like us; they're not limited to that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, these are all of these things that I'm learning, but I sort of knew before. I just didn't know the words for these things.
Right.
It's just so weird. This is the first time in my life I've ever started to talk about this. And this has only been within the last, 4 months.
Okay.
Wow.
So,
how does that make you feel, Toni?
Liberated.
Yeah.
It makes me feel relief. I have found there are so many people out there that have had their own experiences and they share them. And I'm like, wow, this is like a paranormal tribe here. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Well, that's part of what we wanted to do with this show is get people listening to it and hearing other people talk about it and be willing to talk about their own experiences and share, what do you think happened? Do you think that was my grandpa? Or, that kind of thing with each other. And it seems, we've met a lot of people who have been sharing things like that with each other. So
it's something how many people have just opened up. But a lot of them are really great because like they're way younger than me, and they've been doing this a whole lot longer than me because it was around. I didn't know that. I mean, I have a Twitter account. Okay, I opened it. I subscribed to Twitter. I guess
I don't have a Twitter account.
8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago. I just started using it 5 months ago. 6 months
and that's
ago.
where we connected.
Yeah.
Toni followed us, and her bio on Twitter said haunted house survivor, and I was like, ooh. So I sent her a message and said, want to come talk about it?
Yeah. It seems like every house I've lived in, I've had some sort of paranormal encounter. Every one of them. That same house, if I don't know how much time we've got, but I can tell you ladies, I can tell you so many times and so many different individual encounters. There's only one that in the house where my husband and I, my husband and I lived before we moved here to this house in Oklahoma. I had three encounters there, 3 visual encounters, real visual encounters there right before we moved here, and that's just about 8 months ago. One of the visitors visited me twice, and this was really odd. Are you ready to hear it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. So, and then we'll just go backwards if you want, however you
want to do it, whatever you're comfortable with.
Oh, okay. So I'll go ahead and start with this one. So I'm working on my computer. And I'm up in the middle of the night. That's just that's my clock. That's my schedule. I'm up in the middle of the night. I'm working. And I had my my computer facing towards the hallway, which would be going down the hall, where my husband would be down, down at the end in the master bedroom. And and then his office door was like would have been the first door on the left, and then right directly across is a bathroom. Well, I'm seeing, how you see shadows, you can see stuff that's going on behind you in your computer screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I all of a sudden I see somebody walk from my husband's bedroom or office into the bathroom, and I go, honey, I go, Mark, and I'm like, huh. So I get up, go walk over there. I go walk over there, and there's nobody in the bathroom, nobody in my husband's office, and my husband's in bed. And this was a dark shadow figure, but because I didn't know it was actually a dark shadow figure, but it looked like my husband's profile.
Mm-hmm.
And it just passed from one room to the other, but I should have just sat there and said, well, it's not coming out. It's got to be something paranormal. And so that was that one. And let me tell you, I woke up my husband. I said, honey, I go, did you just walk from your office into the bathroom? He goes, huh? He's like totally asleep, He goes, no. I go, well, I just saw something again,
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, I just come to bed. And I'm like, yeah, how do you go to bed? Yeah. I don't think so. So anyway, okay, so it's probably about maybe 3 weeks later. I'm not even going to use my computer that faces that area anymore with my back turned to it. So this is what I did. I went out and bought a laptop so I could sit on the couch and face that, and thinking if it goes past her again, I'm going to look it straight on. This time it's not going to just trick me. But this time that was a tall being that walked past. And I mean, they walked past slow enough that I could actually see it. This wasn't, any kind of reflection. I mean, it was reflection, but not a human natural reflection. Well, I'm sitting on the couch. This is the next one. I'm sitting on the couch and I have the fireplace on, and I'm typing away because I've got my new laptop, all happy with that. And I'm working away, And you know how, I know you ladies have had some paranormal experiences.
Yep.
It's that feeling you get, honest to goodness. And something is staring at you. Yep. Rather than someone. And so anyway, what happened was I'm just sitting there. And as I said, the fireplace is on. And I'm just, going away at my computer or laptop. And I look over by the fireplace, and I'll be doggone if there isn't this like little guy, probably no more than 2.5 feet tall, staring right at me. And I mean, I seen his entire face.
Goodbye.
I seen his shoulder. I seen his shoulders go down. I didn't see hands, but I could see his torso and like the upper thigh of the leg. And I just go, precious Lord, no, like that, because I got it.
That's his house now. That's his house now. I live in my car.
And you know what? The thing just turned around. It just turned around. It was facing me like this, and it just turned around and went right back into the wall right after I saw that. No,
it was
kidding.
Totally a child that was daring another child. That was like, go see if she could. Go see if she could see us.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's what I thought. It was a child. So and then later on, I kind of felt bad and thought, I've seen these programs where people leave out toys for the little ghost children. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to really.
Yeah,
interact,
I'm not. No,
that's a little too welcoming.
I'm not about to talk to it.
No,
they tell you don't ever speak to them, and I wasn't speaking to them. I was speaking to God. Help me.
Yeah,
So anyway, so my husband went to our guest bedroom one night. Probably about, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks later. I don't even think it was that long. It couldn't have been. It could probably more like just a week later if it was that. Now, and he fell asleep in the guest bedroom reading. So I'm in bed. I'm in the bed, and I'm sleeping, and it's probably about, I don't know, again, maybe about 3 or 4 in the morning, but I keep the hallway light on, and just the door kind of cracked just to give enough light in the room, And that way I'm not walking in the dark because I don't like the dark at all. I even sleep with the TV on because I can't handle it. Because of all this stuff that's happened to me. And so
it's amazing you can sleep at all.
Yeah. If you knew my schedule, like I said, I already told you. Anyway, I can you know how you just get jolted awake, kind of. You feel this it's almost like a static, and you know something's staring at you. I'm on this side of the bed. My husband's side of the bed is this side of the bed, and the door is right here, so it's kind of like I said, it's open enough where I can see plenty of light, just that it's not in my face. And immediately open my eyes, and I'm on my left side looking out towards that door, and doggone if that stinking little thing wasn't right there looking over the bed.
The same little guy from the other room?
Little guy.
No, thank you.
Little guy. And this time I just go, okay, it's time to get up. That's exactly what I did.
No, thanks.
And
no,
I'm good.
No,
I'm good. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
I don't need that.
Please don't come back. Okay, bye.
Yeah, exactly. And I see a lot of people that use these indoor cameras, and I'm like, never.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I need is something to see something that's watching me.
Right.
Well, I am when I finally do get to sleep. But there have been some. The one that happened to me when I was little was the worst.
Yeah.
No kidding. Yeah.
Hard to top that.
Yeah.
Well, I have had a physical attack.
Oh my God.
Oh, right.
And that's pretty bad. That was pretty bad. I mean, I got beat up really bad. Okay, so I was living in another house, the house that I owned myself before I got married again. Okay. The second time get married, my second marriage. And this was, I guess it was 2015. I had to be about 55 years old. And I bought that little house, and I absolutely loved it. And I never felt anything weird in that house or anything like that. But then I never really spent a lot of time in this one front bedroom. It was only a 2-bedroom house, the house is only like 900 square feet, for goodness sakes, real tiny little place. And just me and my dog. I had my collie, and
baby.
I adored her. She passed like 6 years ago.
Oh, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I had her 14 years. Yeah, it was.
That's a good life. What a good puppy.
It was, but it's devastating.
It is. It's the worst part of pet ownership is.
Yeah. That's why I won't do it again. I just can't. I can't handle the heartache. Yeah. So anyway, I told my Bonnie, I said, let's go sleep in here. Let's have a camp out in here. So I just grabbed a lounge chair and set the lounge chair up and brought her bed in there. And I mean, I don't know why I did this because my bedroom was at the back of the house. It was a lot larger, and I had a bed, and I don't know what possessed me to do this. Well, there was only one bathroom in that house, and it was in the room that we decided to camp in. And you have to go through the house to just get to that bathroom. Like I said, only one bathroom. And anyway, so I figured, okay, well at least we'll be close to the restroom and everything too. And
way to be positive about it.
Silver lining.
Yeah, exactly. And I went ahead and I shut the door. I guess I probably figured because I had a roommate that would come in the middle of the night, or in the early morning because he worked the graveyard. And so we just slept in there. We had enough light from the street lights in there without having to turn on a light. But there was no TV in there, which probably was my first downfall, my first problem. No TV, no sound, no nothing. Anyway, so we laid down. We're laid down for the night, and again, probably about 3:00 in the morning, I literally get jerked out of off that lounge chair, and I am absolutely positive that there's an intruder in the house. And whatever this was a force that threw me into the bathroom, because like I said, that bathroom was right there. Literally lift me. It's like the movies. Honest to goodness, it's like the movies. Lifted me up, threw me into the bathroom. I hit this ceramic thing that I had on the wall and broke it. I was so glad I didn't go through the glass
shower.
Yeah, exactly, because I would have been all cut up.
Oh yeah.
But I had bruised ribs from that. Then a doggone thing pulled me back out, and I'm all this time I'm screaming and screaming it, but my dog is crying too.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking there must be two in here, but the door is not open. It's still shut, not locked, just shut. Okay, and I'm getting thrown and tossed around this room, just tossed, and I can see a teensy bit from the street light, but not enough to really give me some clarity, and so I'm getting tossed around some more, and now I get thrown into the closet. It was like a little long closet, it was an old house built in 1932. I got thrown in a closet and then pulled out by my feet. And I mean, this is going on for I don't know how long. I honestly don't have quite the memory of what was going on as far as when it stopped or how long it took or any of that. But I remember jumping for the door and trying to open the stinking door and could not get it open. I mean, for the life of me, no matter how much I pulled on it, no matter what, and I'm screaming and screaming and beating on the door and screaming, and I still haven't quite seen anybody,
Yeah.
And my dog is still crying. So something is happening to her too. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so finally, by the time my roommate came home, he raps on the door, Toni, are you in there? And I go, yes, let me out. And I go, please just let me out. And I'm still trying to pull it. And he just opened it up just like that.
Wow.
Without a problem at all. He looks into the bed, into that room, and it was a shamble. I mean, things were broken everywhere. I had these portable, closets, armoires, but the portable, cheap portable kind. Everything was strewn about all over the room. Glass was broken, things not the window or anything. Mm-hmm. And I thought, sure, there was nobody there.
Wow.
Well, yeah. So it's several months later, I told a neighbor across the street about what had happened because she had things happen in her life too, and I trusted in telling her. And she goes, didn't I tell you? And I go, oh, didn't you tell me what?
No, you did. Whatever you're going to say, you didn't tell me.
Right. And she said that before I had bought the house, that they would have these really wild type parties, doing a lot of really very unsavory acts in my house. Mm-hmm. In my house, I mean, and other things, I'm sure. And I'm like, God, I wish I would have known that.
Yeah.
I never would have bought this house or would have had it cleansed or something or whatever it is you do,
my God.
But let me tell you, I never slept in there again.
No, I don't blame you.
It made me so nervous to go into that bathroom. I would just kind of pray before I went in and kind of sing things to myself, be singing or whatever, play music. Wow. My dog would never go in there again.
I don't blame her.
Would never go in there again. She would just hover at the door when I had to go in there. Yep. Because she always followed me everywhere. That's how collies are, and that's how any dog is, really.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be out of her sight except for when I went in that room.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's so scary.
Still, even as bad as that was, that's as an adult. And yes, it was scary. And I don't know, anything could have happened. I could have hit my head on something. I don't even know how I ended up. I know I didn't end up. I ended up on the floor in a big heap of stuff all over the place.
Yeah,
right.
That's how I woke up, or however I. Again, I don't remember how. Yeah. When I actually woke up or how I woke up or whatever. But it's still as bad as that was. I was 55 years old. As bad as that was, it still, what happened to me, seeing two full-bodied apparitions at 4 years old was worse.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Because that
like you said, it changes you. Like it does. It changes. You are the person you were before that.
Mm-hmm. And how can you know what kind of person you are at 4 years old in the first place?
Right.
You know what I mean? But it all changes.
Yeah.
There's no more.
The innocence is gone. You know,
exactly.
Before that, there's nothing bad in the world. You know, mommy and daddy or whoever protects you from everything. There's nothing bad.
No, right. But
and suddenly there is, and you can't. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. And as you read that, you know, the boy spirit, the small boy spirit, you know, I see that in my mind still at 60 years later, and it's so vivid. That poor spirit child was just begging, or he was desperate, you know, but
you were 4. I mean, you couldn't have done anything, you know?
Absolutely not. And there's no way, but I wasn't scared of him. I don't know why, you know, I was just curious, I guess, but I still just lay there and we kind of just looked at each other. It didn't last like a long time, but long enough that it seemed like we understood each other. And it wasn't I understood empathy. That little, because you know you just learn that you know, grandma gets hurt or mama gets hurt or sister gets hurt. Oh, you okay? You know, that kind of thing. You know, when you're little, you already know that stuff.
Well, and you said you weren't scared by him because he wasn't giving you an energy to be scared by. It wasn't. It wasn't anything that was providing something that was malicious or creepy or whatever. Where you know, it was just more of like. Maybe he was checking to make sure you were okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's maybe, you're right. Maybe he was, but I, looking back at it now, I know he was just like really sorry for what was going to happen next.
Of course.
Because that was when the really malevolent being came out. And anyway, I started to say that somebody had talked to me about this and said the child spirit was probably like a pawn in a way or bait.
Oh,
and also, and also keeping that portal or that entrance open by standing there, because they might just have only so much time before it closes, you know,
or maybe it takes too much energy, and that's why he had the little boy there.
Ooh, yeah. See.
Yeah. I mean, I think you had mentioned in your story, maybe, I think it was in there that maybe it was a thought of that this man and this boy had been like the kid had been tortured or killed in the house potentially.
That's what I have believed. I have believed that since I could actually make some sense out of it, and that's probably about
it probably is.
And
50
there
years
may
ago.
never have been any record of anything there, because who knows. It could have been before that house was even built. It could have been something from.
It could have been hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
You know, gosh, that's true, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it could have been.
I never thought it. I thought maybe it would have been
runaway kid, or
a
kidnapped child from a completely different part of the country. I mean, there's so many different options for where that poor child came from. Like, there's no way to really know.
Yeah, he could have just died there, you know, on that ground. Not necessarily the house,
right?
But on that ground.
Or
that's
and maybe they weren't even connected, and
until afterwards the
malevolent spirit just, you know, because we've seen some episodes of the Dead Files where Amy said this is a spirit that can trap other spirits. So maybe that's what he did.
You gave me goosebumps now. I've been watching that lately because of you guys.
Good.
It's
good.
Interesting.
It
is so interesting. Oh man, I would love to talk to her.
Oh, I know. Oh my God.
Dream.
That's a dream.
What's wrong with me? Tell me why this happens. I'm sure
she would probably be a huge
standing right next to you, and another one's ready to stick out in the room, and here comes this other one. You know,
have you ever visited like a medium or a psychic or anything?
No, I'm afraid to.
Yeah,
really.
Honestly. Yeah, and I've never dabbled in any kind of divination practice of any kind. But no, I'm actually really kind of afraid to. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, because to me, that's more concrete than a scientist telling me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If a scientist told me, well, you know, it's this, and this, I would say, okay, that's just textbook. But when it's somebody who feels it spiritually, I would be so afraid.
And you can't deny it anymore then, or you can't, plausible deniability. Like, something's going on, but you don't know what's going on.
Until somebody comes in and says, oh, that's exactly what I saw too.
Yeah. And then she says, hey, there's a little girl next to you. And you say, hey, that better be someone else's little girl, because I'm not having any more girls.
Go running. I go running out of the house. Well, she's chasing you now.
Yeah, and I'm like, she better find somebody else, because
right behind. She's on your heels.
In case you haven't heard the episodes where we discussed this, the three of us went to see a psychic together, the psychic told Megan that there was going to be a little girl coming into her life as a daughter, and she was like, nope, I'm not having any more.
We're
kids.
Done. She's
done.
Closed.
And the psychic's like, okay.
We'll see about that.
Okay.
And then the freakiest part about it was we were doing a happy hour later with one of our patrons, and she's abilities too. Mm-hmm. And out of nowhere, she had not heard the episode. I don't even think we'd released it yet.
I don't think we'd released it yet.
And she said, Megan, I see a little girl with you. And I said, well, you better not.
Oh,
you better,
my goodness.
You better see it with someone else.
I think that's really precious, though.
She's not.
Yep.
She's not me.
But,
I mean, I know that Jenny said it was going to be like a daughter or a granddaughter or something for you, but
she did say that it could be somebody else in your life that you would have a connection with.
Yeah.
This child.
That's better, because she's closed. We're done.
But we've all decided that we prefer the version where it's her daughter. So
no.
Oh, I think that's probably exactly who it was.
I mean, it could be your son's daughter in the future.
Let's do that. Let's go with that.
Could be granddaughter.
Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
That's so because there's no time. They're not bound in time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not bound to natural.
And we've talked about this before, because when people are ghost hunting and they're like, give me a sign, and then nothing happens, and it's like, okay, but that's in our time. Like, maybe they give us a sign a second later in their time, but that's 200 years from now.
Oh God.
Like,
that's a really, really, oh my gosh, that's a really cool
Megan,
idea.
You're getting really deep tonight.
Oh my God,
I liked it. I liked it.
I haven't tried. I haven't even had any.
But that's an interesting thought right there.
And the cool thing is, like, I feel like there's with the paranormal and the spiritual, there's really no quote unquote wrong answers.
Mm-mm.
You know what? Exactly. Because anything can happen in that world. There's not enough evidence to know until we actually leave this body.
And that's a one-way trip, and I'm not going on that yet. So
yeah. I mean, but when you ask me about if I've ever seen a psychic, some psychics are psychic, like Amy on the Dead Files, which she knows that type of psychic has that psychic ability.
She's called herself a dead medium before. Mm-hmm. So where she often will see people in their death state. And often feels their death state. And that's where I think her abilities came in for the show, of being able to indicate, like, stomach pains or really bad, hit in the back of the neck, or other things like that. So
plus she had her first paranormal encounter at 4 years old too, just like me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So somebody like her, I would rather see if I was going to see one, rather than just one that's can tell you other futuristic things. I want somebody who can see that type of stuff. If I was going to do it,
and the problem too is so many of them claim to be, and they're not. They're just really good at reading people and picking up on nonverbal cues. If you say, I'm getting a female, and somebody perks up, they're like a mother. They're really good at picking up those nonverbal
you have to put
cues.
Your poker face on.
Yes. Yeah. So you think you're like, oh my God, they're so good. And it's like, they can just really read you and pick up those cues that you're giving off that you probably don't even know.
Right. And the reason I've gone to who I brought these two to Jenny a few times was one of the first, I think it was the first time that I went to see her. And then she just kind of said, it was about, she tells you have possibilities, probabilities, and free will. So not everything that is of potential will come to fruition because you still have the choice to make.
It's just an option.
It's an option if
you choose your own adventure.
If you take those pathways. And one of them was that she saw me speaking in front of large groups and that I would impact people without ever really knowing that. And then shortly later that year, and this was 6 years ago. Yep. And 6 months later, I was doing a presentation on a topic of unconscious bias that I had presented to our, internally in our company. And then 6 months later from that, I was asked to speak at a large event with that topic. And it's like, oh, and I did have somebody come up to me and say, you talked about that, right? And they went off on this whole tirade of how they always judged people with tattoos. And they always figured if they saw people with visible tattoos that they were rough, that they were probably have a bad attitude and that sort of stuff. And she's like, I had to stop and make myself think before I judged them the last time I saw someone. So I was like, okay.
I bet I should show you my sleeves. No, I'm just kidding.
That would be awesome.
And on my back, I got a big, and my chest has got a big ship here,
I have a full face tat. It's just really good foundation.
The makeup. Yeah. Oh, it's Kat Von D.
Yeah.
Kat Von D makeup. But anyway, this is interesting. This is really interesting. Ideas
we're pretty
theories I've never
people.
thought. Yeah, you are.
All four of us are. All four of us are.
I do say so myself.
Not to brag. Too.
But so let me see. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go ahead and go back to that old house where the first encounter happened.
I don't know if I'm emotionally prepared for that house.
Is that why you have so many lights on today, Megan?
Yes, we don't need to talk about it. You mind your business.
This isn't as scary, but I was about 7 years old, and a little friend of mine from school was coming over for a sleepover, and my mom rolled out the Riviera bed or roll-out bed or whatever for us to sleep on because we had the TV there. And we're gonna watch
that's
TV.
So exciting!
It is. And the bed, you say the bed went out that way, and the TV's like in front of the bed, and right next to me, the couch is close enough to the bed where when you roll the bed out, it's going to have just a smaller pathway, but the fireplace is right there. You don't roll the bed out and have a fire, obviously, So I let my little friends sleep on this side where she would have more room to get out of bed if she needed to go to the restroom and stuff. So anyway, we're falling asleep and I didn't fall asleep before her, which is unusual because these days I fall asleep before anybody, but I didn't back then. And she's falling asleep and she's just dozing off. And I close my eyes and I'm starting to doze off. And then there goes that feeling again. And I open my eyes. And right here where the fireplace is, and she's like snoring away. She's asleep. Comes out this dark figure. And this dark figure.
Hi, friends. Amy here. This was the point in the conversation where I got an emergency call from my mom, who had gotten herself lost driving around at night, and I had to run out of the room to take her call. The ladies decided to stop Toni's story until I got back and continue Lynn, but I didn't get back in time, before the recording was over. She was really lost. So Toni will get back to this story in just a little bit. While I was editing this, I was going to try to splice it up nicely so that you wouldn't even know, but it just didn't sound natural. So I left it in, warts and all, the way it actually happened. I'm sorry if it's confusing. Hopefully it'll make sense when she gets to the rest of the story.
You guys can tell me something.
Oh boy.
Okay, I'll tell you one. I go,
Okay.
me.
Okay.
So I had a spirit with me basically from college until like 2015-ish, 2014-ish. So like 2006 until about 2014, and it was the same guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
So I was in Texas with my first husband. He was in the military, and so we moved all over the place. And so we were in Texas at this point, and we were in a little one-bedroom apartment, and he worked nights with the Navy, so he would go and stay overnight. And so I was sleeping one night, and this man walked out of my bedroom or out of the bathroom, and like not as, scary, just like walking normally. And he had like, shoulder length brown hair. He was very tall and super skinny. And I couldn't make out a lot of details because it was the middle of the night and I was half asleep. But I watched him walk to the end of my bed and then stop and turn and face me.
Oh.
And then I blinked and he was gone. And when I tell you, I about shit my pants.
Oh man, I don't blame you. Oh my gosh.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
Oh my gosh. And you said how many years?
He was with me about 8 or 9 years. His name was
Frank. And did you say till 2015?
Yeah, roughly.
So he must be the same guy that visited me in my house and beat me up.
No, this guy was really nice. So there's nice. I went to a meetup and I found a paranormal society here in the Twin Cities, and they did everything for free. And so they came to my apartment and they set up and they did an investigation. And they communicated with him and they found out his name was Frank. And he was from Wisconsin in the 1800s. So we live in Minnesota, so we're neighbors. And I went to school in Wisconsin. So that's how, and I reminded him of his sister. And so that's why he attached onto me because I reminded him of his sister, and then they moved him on. Her.
They moved him. I got goosebumps from that because that's so sweet.
I haven't seen him since then, but he was, and in the Middle East, because I lived in the Middle East for 2.5 years, and I had crazy experiences over there. I'd have horrific dreams that were so real. I often dreamt that, so I had 2 cats over there. And I often dreamt that, I'd close the door and I'd wake up and the door was open and the cats were in my room. And I closed the door. You
don't know how they got in there, huh?
That happened many times.
How strange, like something opened the door and moved the cats in.
Yeah,
and then closed it quietly.
Yeah.
That is very, very odd.
Yeah.
Very odd.
So those were in the Middle East is really the only times that I ever felt dangerous spirits. Like they were angry or they wanted to harm me.
Yeah.
Wow. So but never did, right?
No, they never did.
Thank goodness.
I had the most vivid, terrifying dreams over there. There was one dream I had where I was in my room and I went to my roommate's room. And on my way out of the room, something black came from the dresser and slammed into me and screamed at me, "Get out of here. This is my space."
Wow.
And I woke up from that. I didn't sleep for a week after that.
Wow. Oh, honey.
I was gonna say, Megan, did I ever tell you about the one black mass that I had that flew at me?
You probably did, but I forgot. So let's hear it again.
Me. Okay.
Tell Toni. She doesn't know.
Yeah, it wasn't anything major, and it's the only one that I've had that actually made my heart race. Encounter of any sort. Mostly it's been family members or pets that I've, corner of the eye, other things that happen. But it was, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years ago, somewhere in that range, maybe earlier than that. But I went to bed and I'm pretty sure I was asleep, but I remember waking up and looking up into the upper corner. I had been watching TV before I went to bed too, but all of a sudden there was this black, almost like bat shape, but like fruit bat size, so bigger.
Yeah.
And it was it was just so dark. I just remember it being so dark. And all of a sudden it like dislodged from the corner of the room. So way up in the corner and just shot right at me. And I threw my covers over my head. And then of course I came and peered back from under my covers, and Briggs was in the room with me at the time, and he got up and like walked up and laid on the pillow. Now Briggs, this dog, always like if there were storms, he laid between me and an open window. He often would like, if he heard sounds, he would get up and like curl around my head. So he was always, he was a black lab, a British lab. And so he'd always kind of, so the way I reacted and the way that he then crawled up next to me was like, okay, something, but I've never had any, I don't have any like negative other instances that I can think of.
But it definitely wasn't a bat. It was just some sort of mass.
It was something. Yeah, it was like, something like that shape, but it was like it was moving, and it was about that size. And like I said, a fruit bat, not like a brown nose or something like that.
Like
and it just came and
calling it a fruit bat doesn't help. It doesn't help.
They're so cute though.
They are adorable. They are adorable.
Bats are cute.
They are very cute. They're like flying puppies, but they don't. And
that's
doesn't
what they
help.
call them too, I think.
Oh yeah.
So did you feel anything when it?
I pulled my covers over my head before it got to me. So, and I don't know. And it was just like one of those, like, was I truly awake? Was I in that dream realm where you're in between worlds kind of thing? Like what was it? So I don't really know. And I don't have any other, I can't correlate like having any sort of like bad days after that.
Were you boozing?
No.
I should think of no.
Maybe.
Was it the dog?
Some things that might seem like a dream really aren't. The fact is that you are in almost a twilight in between, and that's when you're vulnerable.
Yeah, that's when a lot of my experiences happen, is when I'm asleep.
Yep.
Or like in that I got sleep paralysis a lot.
I did too.
In college. Yep. And so I'd wake up and couldn't move, but everything, like the time, everything was exactly the same. And then I'd wake up again and it would all be the same, but I could move.
Okay. Weird.
It was like a snake had wrapped around me. And if I tried to like take a breath to yell, it got tighter. And then something would happen and I'd just suddenly be able to move.
Wow.
Really?
It was terrifying.
I've had those experiences quite a bit in another house I lived in, but I would be literally where I couldn't move a muscle. I would be pinned and you could feel something on you, almost like holding you down.
And you're like you're willing anything in your body to move, anything to
and
move,
nothing,
and nothing moves.
Wow.
I just sit there
sitting
and pray.
The only thing you can move is the only thing you can move is your eyes, just to look around.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. And there's nothing there, and there's nothing there. Yeah. And that's actually happened. That actually happened to me a couple of times in the daytime, which is usually that kind of stuff happens at night. But then you finally can move. You could just like sit bolt upright, But
I am very thankful I have not had that kind of experience.
It's horrible.
Attempted murder on a ghost, cursed paintings burning houses down, and lighthouse keepers disappearing without a trace. The world is filled with astonishing stories that will make you go and shrug, saying, well, I don't know what's going on here, but it is certainly strange. My podcast, Certainly Strange, is a collection of these bizarre tales. Each episode I tell a separate story and share my own unfiltered opinions and theories about it. If this sounds interesting to you, come and join me on this journey through the strangest parts of our history.
And just want to jump in here too. We can continue on. I know Amy is going to be kind of probably in and out there as she's just trying to coordinate what needs to happen. So
but we continue on with your story.
This is, like I said, it really wasn't. Well, I guess it would be a big deal to somebody else, but it wasn't to me after I had
it would probably be a huge deal to me. I'd probably
It's no big deal. There's just this other thing that happened.
I know.
Yeah,
Tony's like, it was just a Tuesday, and then I had some Czech cereal afterwards. And...
after that first one, you do kind of just.
The bar was set really high.
Yeah,
exactly. And I think maybe that's what it was, it was preparing me for future events.
You
like
see
it's going to happen to you, girl. You're just one of those that it's attracted to. It's going to happen to you. You might as well get used to it. And so we're going to scare the living daylights out of you from the get-go.
You're like, do you have a scissors? No, don't even come play then. Don't even come play. You don't have a scissors.
I hated scissors. I did from thereafter. I really did for a very long time. It was very difficult when you go to school and they, you have to pull your scissors out and you have to start cutting. And I always had flashbacks. And for years later, it's just like that. And every once in a while, even today, I'll pick up a pair of scissors and think of it. It's just the way it is. Certain things will stay with you. But anyway, so I'm like I said, I'm laying closest to the fireplace, and my little friend's over here on the other side, and
snoozing away.
She's already snoozing away. Lucky. She's already asleep, and I'm practically just about ready to go to sleep, just about. But I feel that thing, I could feel that thing, and it gives you the goosebumps or whatever it is that you feel. For me, it's basically basically the same thing every time. I'll get a chill. And it's like an electrical, like a surge of some sort, I guess, but it feels cold, and anyway, so I can feel it's right next to me. It came right out of the fireplace, like walk through the wall of the fireplace.
Was it that little person again?
No.
Okay.
This is at when I was a child.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is at the spooky house, the real bad haunted house.
The scissors house.
Yeah, the scissor house. and it was a dark figure, kind of like cloaked or whatever, but I couldn't really see a face, but this thing was huge, enormous. And he walked around. It's like he looked at me. I don't know how to say how to explain it, because there really wasn't a face. It was too dark to see one, but it's like he just kind of like looked, like stood there next to me. And I'm like looking over at my friend thinking, okay, I'm ready to scream, because now I'm a lot older and I know I better do something, but I don't want to scream. I don't want to wake her up, and then she will never come spend the night again. I'm thinking if it's me, it'll just look at me, That's how you reason when you're little. What do you know? Right. So he just stands there for a few moments, and then he walks around the foot of the bed, stands there for a couple seconds. And I'm looking right at him thinking, my heart's pounding like crazy. And I'm looking right at him. And right when you think you could have screamed, you can't.
Yep.
And I'm just like watching him, and he's continues walking around the bed some more. Now he's on her side. And he kind of just like bends over to look at her, and
nope.
And then he stands back up, and then all of a sudden it was like this black hole opens up, seriously, on the floor next to the bed, sort of on her side. It just kind of like opens up, and it's like he just gets swallowed, or slowly gets swallowed by it, and it's gone.
What is he, Dr. Strange?
Yeah. What is that?
Right. Oh, Dr. Strange. I don't know. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Well, in the Marvel, in the Marvel comic movies, he makes
I guess I'm not familiar with that. But yeah, it's like he went back down into a portal. If it, I guess that would be the word for it. And
weird.
Gone.
I'll pass on that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I don't want to see that one again either.
It's like he was shopping.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Not so much about this
not
one.
This one. Her hair's too long.
Not this one. I'll go check the next house over.
It was just really strange.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he actually knew me, and maybe this wasn't the first time he walked in.
Could be.
I could have been sleeping at any other time. I mean, who knows what kind of stuff goes on.
When you're
night. And who knows what stuff, if they're able to make you stay asleep. Like maybe that girl didn't wake up.
Can I get some more of that so that I can sleep longer?
Well,
Great.
she if she would have known that my house was kind of like that. But you know what? Instead of her asking to spend the night again, or I would avoid it because I didn't want anything to happen to her.
Yeah.
You know, I would just like.
How long did you live in that house?
From I was born when I was born. I was there from birth, from 1959 to 1971 when I was 11 years old.
Wow, that's
we moved out when I was 11
years. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I mean, from age 0 to say 3, 3 plus, right before 4 years old, I would have never suspected anything.
And now is that because you mentioned that you're in Oklahoma now? Was it in Oklahoma? Was it in what state were you in?
No, it's California.
Oh, okay.
All of my paranormal experiences happened in California.
Interesting.
All of them. All of them. All of the bad ones, anyway. I mean, I had the one here in Oklahoma with our friend, and every now and then I'll see something just like kind of from my peripheral vision. I'll look over, and of course, there's nothing there then. But or I'll feel something. Like there will be times when I'm like, I'm not going in that room, and it's not because it's necessarily because this house is a lot newer. It's only 5 years old. It's not, but that doesn't mean anything. I've learned that. It's not necessarily that there's something within the house. It's just that maybe something's passing through.
Right.
And I know I don't want to see anything. I don't want to see anything. And even when I feel something or it's not as evident, like, or obvious, like my past really bad ones, that feeling, but it'll be just something like, oh, I know I just saw something over here. I know I just saw something. Oh, well, the other day, that's right. The other day, I go, oh, yeah, that's right. I got one for you. Oh, I forgot about that. So I'm in my office and like going this way is the living room. And I was sitting on the couch, and from the bathroom, it's like right there. I have a bathroom, but it's right next to my office. From the living room, I could just see something, literally it was probably a figure about this tall, so I'd say 3 feet.
Okay.
And it was almost like a flash, and it just like ran from the guest bedroom, which is right next door. It ran from the bathroom right into the guest bedroom, and I just watched it. Watched it flash right over.
The guest bedroom would be dead to me. I'm never going there.
But it could have came from the bathroom. Then what am I going to do? I have to go to the other bathroom. No, but when my husband, I don't even bother to wake him up now. I just when he wakes up, I go, "Oh, honey, guess what? Guess what?
Another ghost.
What do you mean? Do we have to move again? Because we've had 3 houses together.
Really?
And the other one, the one that I told you about, the little guy and the shadow figure, that was in Rancho Mirage. And then before that was Temecula. This is another one that happened. He was off on a business trip, and we had this really huge house. It was ridiculously huge for 2 people, and it was 2 stories. And I set the alarm. He's off on a business trip. I set the alarm. Bonnie's downstairs. I still had my Bonnie girl, my collie. But she won't go up the stairs because she never had stairs in her entire life. And so she was skittish about it. Yep. Plus they were wood. They were wood stairs.
Don't like that. They don't necessarily like the sound and the feel because they can't grip.
Right. Exactly. And so she never went up the stairs. So instead of sleeping down on the reclining couch, like I usually do, I went upstairs because I wanted to really actually stretch out. You know how you can't, your legs are kind of bent in that position. So I went upstairs, and I normally didn't when my husband was away on business trips, because it's like, oh, I'm going to stay down here because if something happens, I can't run downstairs, and get out, say a fire or anything. Or an intruder, but I had alarms. I mean, we had an alarm system. So I'm laying in bed and I'm facing the window on my side of the bed, and I feel something lay right, I'm telling you, right next to me and almost like spoon me. You know how you have two bodies laying the same. And I'm thinking, and I'm just like sitting there and I'm scared to death. And I immediately, you know how you just wakes you up, and I'm opening my eyes and I can still feel it with my eyes open. So I know it's not just dreaming. I know my husband's not home and I don't want to say anything, but I'm thinking, I'm laying there thinking, is there an intruder in the house? And then, and you know,
of course, because why would you immediately go to a ghost? Your first thought is an intruder.
Right. That's the first thing I thought. And I'm like, it can't be. It can't be. The alarms would have went off. The alarms would have went off like crazy. And I'm just laying there, and my eyes are still wide open. I'm thinking, and then immediately I go, I'm going to close my eyes. Whatever it is, I don't want to see it, because I came to that realization, it can't be an intruder. Right. It's got to be something else. And of course, I told my husband about it. And I'm like, I will never sleep up there without you again. I am sleeping downstairs. I was so
when did it? How long did it stay there?
Probably the whole night. I don't know. I mean, eventually I fell asleep. I guess I was tired, but it was next to me for a good long time. Almost like just like a man would be laid down with, you know, without putting an arm on you, but you can feel that pressure next right up against you. And I know it wasn't Bonnie. She wouldn't have come up there. She wouldn't have got on bed anyway. Right. You know, but
woof. No, thank you.
No, exactly. You know, and you know, like say like during a pandemic, the energy was really, really crazy. That house that I told you about in Rancho Mirage, where the little tiny entity and the dark shadow figure, you're going to go, this was the craziest thing. It was a really nice house, and it was single story. We just got out of that big old house in Temecula. I was so happy there, and we had a pool, and we were just like, just living it up, living the dream, you know?
Yeah.
And
heck
you know, 3 weeks later or whatever it was, the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And you could just feel the energy. Well, and, you know, really felt the energy of, you know, people dying and such. Yeah. You know, it wasn't just the news. You literally felt the whole world had this in common.
Yeah, it did. It had a very,
it was a common denominator. Yeah.
Anxious, like on edge, like, oh yeah, I remember it.
You could just feel like people dying.
Yeah.
You could. Yeah. And you know, this is what the crazy part is I lived right across the street from the cemetery.
Oh my God.
The cemetery is right across the street. Isn't that nuts? To all the things that I've been through, and I go living across the street from the cemetery. Well, you know, I mean, those are the only 3 instances that had happened in that house, again, that I know of. I mean, I'd seen like sparks, like red lights, you know, once in a while be up in a spot where there wouldn't be like a motion detector or anything like that to send a light out, and just for absolutely no reason, or a bright light just like sparked off of the tile for absolutely no reason. You know, I'd just be, and I mean, so visual, and I've seen those in the daytime.
Yeah.
You know? But it's almost, it's electrical. You don't know what you just, there's an electrical aspect to it. You don't know what's going to happen because you're a conductor.
Exactly.
You conduct it.
Yeah. Maybe that thing was laying next to you to get energy.
That's the other thing I've learned. That's what they do, is they feed off your energy. They say that about orbs too, is that they're the spirit's energy kind of feeding off of your energy.
Yeah.
Or they're to feed off of your energy. I've seen videos there was this one officer lady that she had seen a lot of deaths in her time, and she was retired, and she had cameras in her bedroom, and you could literally see these orbs just coming out of the wall and all around her. She says it happens almost all the time. And it's kind of like, to me, it was like all these souls were kind of maybe just passing through and thanking her for what she did for them, or what she tried to do for them, or how she tried to save them, or what have you. But I was blown away by this stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every
and
time,
was,
it's just like a never ending learning pool. There's never going to be a time where we're like, well, we know it all. We can stop learning.
There's no and there's no concrete, there's no textbook here.
Right.
There's only theories and what everybody's experiences are different.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody experiences the same thing unless they're seeing the same thing at the same time. Once I went to the Queen Mary, the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California.
I want to go there someday.
So haunted.
Yeah. I found that out too. Well, I knew it was when I went in there.
It's
I knew it
so
was because
haunted.
you do know it when you go inside. Anytime you go into a building, you know that there's some sort of activity or something around, for those of us. My husband's never had a paranormal experience in his life.
Really? Really?
No. And maybe it's because he's just too logical. I don't know. But he's grounded that way, and that's good. I can't imagine if both of us did be like, honey, you know what I seen today? And, oh, well, guess what I saw? It probably
He'd be like, that's nothing.
Probably we'd be freaking each other out.
Yeah.
But I was on the Queen Mary and I had there was a big, huge dinner in the grand ballroom, and the ambiance, everything was just so beautiful, and it was just so neat. And I went to go to the restroom, and I was by myself, and I'm going down this little like corridor type hallway, and I go to the restroom, I come back out, and there's this, I just passed by the mirror the first time. And
I don't like it. I don't like it already.
Tall mirror. And I just passed by it. I wasn't, because I really had to go to the restroom. So, and then I come back out and I go to stand in front of the mirror, not even thinking anything. And I stand in front of the mirror and all of a sudden, I'm still me, but I'm me with short blonde hair. That's like finger waves, like old fashioned 1920s look.
Like 20s
like
and flapper
30s.
hair.
Yeah, and I'm wearing like a red silk dress. I wasn't wearing a red silk dress.
Oh my God!
I wasn't wearing a dress at all. I was wearing a pantsuit, and I didn't have blonde hair. I had dark brown hair.
Wow!
And I'm looking. I looked, and I'm like, isn't that? You go, okay, I'm just gonna walk away now. But
you handle this so much better than I would.
It wasn't necessarily like it was me and in reincarnated and the reincarnation of something. It was just that something else was there that took over.
Was using your body as a reflection.
To look at yourself.
I mean, it could have been a past life.
Well, I don't want to think of past lives too. Don't do that to me.
I find it so interesting. I mean, have you ever been drawn to a certain era or certain part of history or a certain place, and you're just like, I can't explain why.
Yeah.
But I am just so drawn to this.
I mean, I'm drawn to Scotland, but I think it's because of the hot men in kilts. I don't think it has anything to do with a past life.
That'd be a good reason.
It's the hot men in kilts.
But I'm completely drawn to the Old West, like
I am
1860s to 1880s.
Yeah. Oh, like the Victorian era. Is that Victorian?
But the Old West.
The old. Oh, you want to be Miss Kitty?
That sounds like
I probably would have been Annie Oakley. Like,
there you go. Yeah.
Peeing outside, and
I like those clothes.
I do that already. With
I know.
I
don't want to do that. No, thank you.
I like those clothes.
Yes,
but
I like you think about those. Maybe for you, maybe it was a flash of something that you've had in the past, or it could be something that was somebody wanted to show you something. But
yeah, I did know. I got to tell you, this happened. This was in Hollywood, California, and I had some things go on there, somewhat weird things. But I walked past. I was on probably like Rodeo Drive, like not like I could ever buy anything there, but there was one of those big stores that had like big giant crystals and stuff. I didn't know that's what they were. I just saw these big, gorgeous rocks in the window, and I wanted to go inside. And the lady just tells me she's sitting at this small little desk, and she says, she says, "Oh, come on in." She goes, "I'll give you a reading." I go, "Oh, no, it's okay," because all I wanted to see was these rocks. "Oh, do you like my crystals?" And I go, "Oh, is that what those are?" Because to me, crystal was like,
the glasses,
exactly,
decanters, and
lead crystal. The stuff,
the thing that makes the noise if you do the glass right.
yeah, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that was crystals. And she goes, "Oh, she goes, I would really love to do a reading for you." She goes, "I'll do it for free." And she goes, "I can." She goes, I go, "No, it's okay. I go,
she had someone there going, "You need to tell her this. Yes, you need to tell her this. You need to tell her this."
That's what she said. She says, she says, "I can see that in your past life, you were part of royalty."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, she says, "You were somebody that would be considered royalty." And I go, "Okay, I heard enough. I don't want to know. I didn't. I don't want to know."
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Okay.
And
I just want to deal with what I've already experienced.
You have enough on your plate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just too, it's like, yeah, exactly. I've got too much. I'm barely getting used to talking about this, my own, regular
your
life.
Current
I don't
life.
know what else I might have done.
I don't need past lives.
Yeah. Like, and were they haunted too? That was the other thing that used to freak me out. I kept wondering, am I haunted? Am I haunted?
Mm-hmm.
And people were saying, "No, you're not haunted. You're psychic, or you're a seer, or you just have that energy." And I'm like, well, any one of those above, any of the above is a whole lot better than being haunted.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a great title for this episode.
Oh,
I'm not haunted.
I'm not haunted.
Yeah. That sounds good. That's
a good one.
But yeah, that's what I questioned all my life because again, there was nobody to talk to about this stuff. There wasn't even books in the library for this. Mm-hmm. If you found one, it would have been textbook kind of thing. There wasn't anybody that would really, certainly not in the library I went to, and I really didn't look for it.
No, and you would have had to really look for it. And that Dewey Decimal System, I'm not sure if they would have put it in fantasy or fiction. Or nonfiction.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like psychiatry.
Yeah. Yep. But that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. It's for the most part, back in those days, like it's 100 years ago, but practically to me it is.
In
those days,
the land before the internet.
Yes, exactly. It's almost like were you schizophrenic? Or do you talk to yourself? Do you see things? Well,
I mean, I talk to myself all the time.
I do both because sometimes I answer myself.
Right.
And I think that's a normal thing.
Sometimes I'm the only one that listens to myself. So
exactly.
I would never tell a psychiatrist or a psychologist or anything like that. That part of my personal life.
Yeah.
Fear of ridicule or diagnosis.
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, we really appreciated chatting with you. Is there anything?
And all your stories.
I know. We could go on for more and more and more, but I have a toddler who's just a beast tonight.
No.
He's had about 3 timeouts in the time that we've been recording.
No.
Yeah.
I want a timeout.
So
I wouldn't have even known it.
Oh, yeah. He's upstairs screaming his little head off. So, but
you go ahead.
Toni, thank you so much.
Thank you for
your time. It was so much fun. We'd love to have you back and talk more.
Absolutely.
Because
I feel like you have more stories.
I do.
Yep.
And I'll probably have some more by that time.
Perfect.
Perfect.
But no, there's no reason to be scared. Nothing's going to come through the screen.
I know.
There's nothing.
I mean, I've never had, well, I shouldn't say that, but like Frank was never malicious, but it's just, it is scary when you wake up and there's somebody at the end of your bed and you see them walk out.
There is nothing calming about that.
No,
there's nothing that, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure like Amy, our friend Amy, not this
Amy Allen.
Right. Amy Allen. That's right.
Our BFF. We're BFFs.
Yeah.
She just doesn't know it.
Yeah. Right. She would know really good spirits. I know good spirits from bad ones, but she's really, because she really, that's what she does.
She like taps
so they're
into
going to be
them.
around her.
Yeah.
You know, the way she handles it blows me away.
I know. She's good at it. She's so much calmer than me.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I don't, you know, it's
years of practice.
It's very, very, very unsettling or terrifying or whatever. But I would love to come back.
Yeah,
that would be fantastic.
Would love to, you too. Well, thank you again, Tony, so much.
Yes.
Thank you guys too.
It was such a delight. And yes, we are going to have you back because there's so many things that we did not get to talk about that need to be talked about.
Okay. Yep.
So
thank you so very much. And please tell Amy, you know, good night for me when she gets back. And
we will.
I look forward to seeing her again too.
Sounds good. And thank you for your patience through our hiccups and as we're moving through. So
you kidding me?
Life is going on around us.
Yes. That's exactly right. You have no worries at all. It was very nice because it was very comfortable.
Yes.
I like that.
It was.
All right, y'all. Have a great evening.
Okay? Have a great night. Bye, Tony. Thank you.
Good night, darlings. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Next week, we are going to be talking about another Dead Files episode, Season 8, Episode 10. Paranormal activity terrifies 2 Army veterans who fear the forces inside their home could kill them and their family. A double homicide with ties to the property, a serial killing widow who targets the family as her next victims. So this aired August 26th of 2017. So tune in next week when we are going to be covering that.
Ooh, it sounds pretty interesting. I haven't watched it yet.
I watched it, you guys. I was so on top of it. I already watched it today.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And we would really like to do an episode where we read your stories. Not just Megan's, not just mine, not just Amy's, but yours.
Yours.
So please send them in. We're mostly looking for true paranormal encounters. I almost said true crime.
No, we don't want true crime. Don't send us
paranormal encounters.
Yes.
Like Toni sent us. But we're also open to fictional stories as long as they're good and spooky. And of course, well written. Make us look good.
Yeah.
Send them to theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or go to theactivitycontinues.com and click on the little microphone icon to leave us a message. We'll see you next week.
Thanks and bye.
Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please reach out if you have a spooky story you'd like us to share on the show. We can be reached at theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or through our website or any of our socials. Links are all in the description of the show. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when the activity continues. The Activity Continues is produced by me, Amy, at Collected Sounds Media and is part of the independent Collected Sounds podcast network. We are also proud members of the Boo Pod network of super cool podcasts.
Nailed it.